Hi kids, today we are going to make a vegetable risotto, all right? You need an adult with you if you're going to do this because we're going to be using a saucepan and we're going to be using the hob. Maybe you have electricity, all right? But it's an easy dish to make, it's very delicious and you can put what you like in it. As ever, before we start cooking, before we do anything with food, we must wash our hands and we must wash our hands really well, okay? Always before we touch food, eat food, prepare food, anything to do with food, which is going to go in our mouths, we wash our hands. We dry our hands and then we put on a clean apron. The apron is there not just to protect you and your clothes, it's also there to protect the food. Okay, so the only difference here is that you're using a rice which is a little bit more stable and a little bit sort of harder. If you used a long grain rice, it would fall apart because of the heat. Here you have an array of all sorts of yummy things, but again, you can make it any way you want, okay? You can put meat in it, but if you do put meat in, you must make sure that the meat cooks well. I'm going to start off by putting some red onion. You don't have to have red onion, you could have spring onion, you could have leek, you could have normal onion. I'm going to put it into my pan and I'm going to cook that onion down before I do anything else. I'm going to add some butter. The reason I'm using butter is I want it for the flavour. So I'm putting some butter in there. I've chopped up some mixed coloured peppers. I'm very big on colour. I love colour. So once that onion has cooked down, I'm going to put in all these lovely peppers. I'm going to put in the mushrooms. I'm going to put in some herbs. I'm going to season it. I'm going to season it really well. And the bit with risotto where everybody gets a little bit bored is you have to stand there and stir and stop it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. So keep the heat on an as even as you can so that it's not bubbling away too fast. And basically you add stock. Stock can be any kind of stock you like, a vegetable stock, it could be a chicken, fish, it could be beef, it doesn't matter. Try to use a stock cube which doesn't contain loads of salt. The stock cubes at the moment seem to be very, very salty. We don't use salt at all. So what you do next is once that's done, you put in the peppers. It needs to cook down a bit more than this, but I'm just going to show you anyway. Then I'm going to put in the lovely mushrooms. I'm very keen on mushrooms and I love nutmeg with mushrooms. That's kind of spice. What have I got here? I've got some coriander here. I've got some turmeric, which I like a lot. I've definitely got somewhere here some nutmeg. Nutmeg and mushrooms, I think, are very complementary to one another. It's great like that. So you cook that until everything's got a little bit of colour. It's looking really good. You don't want to overcook it at this stage, so get it going, get it really, really hot. Once it's really hot, you pour in the rice. Let the rice be coated with the butter. That will stop it from sticking together. And then you pour in your liquid. So you will measure your rice to how many people you're going to have eating. Okay, like I say, this is a risotto rice. You could use a paella rice, it doesn't really matter. Again, you're going to put in a little bit of this stock. This is a good stock. It is a bit salty, this one, but it is a good brand. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that in like that. And then I'm going to pour in some water. Again, if you want to speed the dish up a bit, you could boil the kettle and use boiling water. But basically, there you have it. And that will cook until the rice is cooked. You need to check the rice. It wants to be al dente, but it doesn't want to be too. So it's up to you. It depends how you like your rice. Keep stirring it and keep adding liquid until you end up with a dish that looks like that. Experiment with it, experiment with the seasonings and enjoy.